Hello and welcome to the Budgeting Sisters. I'm one half of the Budgeting Sisters, and today we are going to go through my budget for the month of April. This is the April calendar. I try and keep it. This is a book I've made myself. I have my inspiration for this has been a couple of content creators. One is the Rainbow Budgeting Plans, which is Natalie. Rainy Day Rainy Day April, and the 2B sisters, along with a few others that I cannot remember at this precise moment, but I will, as I go along, mention them, because I don't want to feel like these are all my ideas, because they are not. My budget is set up in weeks. I usually go from Friday to Thursday, because that works quite well for me. And by planning it out like this, I know what bills are coming, and what possible holidays, etc., is coming. So in April, the yellow is the school holiday. I do have a child, which will be referred to on all the paperwork as 3.75. There is a joke in our family about this. It all started when my son, we spent a lot of his earlier childhood in different counties from my sister. She's got 4 children, and he couldn't ever remember their names. And so he numbered them 1 to 4. And that's how he referred to them, as 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so because he is older than his youngest cousin, we referred to him as 3.75. And then I also have a niece on my brother's side, and she's 3.5. And so that's how we've referred to them. That's why there's a little private joke about the fact that we refer to him as 3.75. Now we have moved back into the same county as him, as the rest of the family. He's got to know them because he sees them on a weekly basis, and he actually knows who is who, rather than referring to them as names, as in numbers instead of names. On here is basically the bills. I have 2 jobs. So my first job here is pays on the last day of the month. And then every 4th week on a Friday, so I get paid every 28 days, is there. My husband gets paid every other week, so it can be quite difficult to budget, but this helps a lot. There are a few other numbering factors that makes mine slightly complicated. My job number 2, I work for a big retailer, so we get paid every 28 days on a Friday, and on that weekend, which is usually from the Friday to the Monday, we get a extra discount. So we actually get a 15% discount that weekend, and that is the weekend that I will buy my tins, my packets, my jars, my frozen, basically anything not fresh. And so I use my pay from this to cover my food shopping. So my food shopping is budget always runs on a 28-day period, whereas my money here that covers the bills, and any extra, is done on a monthly basis. So it's almost like having 2 separate budgets, but I've learned to work with it, and you might find it a bit complicated, but from my point of view, I find it. We're planning not to roll any money over. We're going to start at 0 base budget. Job number 1 is 1,574. Job number 2 is 410. Now, this is the job that I was saying about how I get paid every 28 days, and this will cover majority, if not all, of the grocery, the household, the personal care and the pet food. My other half at the moment, my husband, we've only been married a year, although we've been together for 13. My husband, he is actually on long-term sick at the moment, so this amount is statutory sick pay. So we're not sure whether we're going to get any assistance from Universal Credit. So at the moment, that's all we know we're going to get in. Our child benefit is 102, £1 interest, and then £1,285 from sinking funds and savings to help cover our costs. As you can see, I round my figures, my wages I round, or income in, should I say, I always round down, whereas my outgoings I always round up to the nearest pound. This way it keeps it all quite clean rather than dealing with pennies. So when we do look at the actual, you'll see that will be, at the end of the month, will be in pennies. And the difference, usually I will put in my savings challenges and my penny jar, or jars, should I say. So council tax 102. This one is the first one. This one will be the first one of the month. For the year. So it's a little bit higher than the rest of because we pay ours over 10 months. Our energy is £160 a month. This here is a MOT and service that we pay for in a monthly instalments. Internet's £33, which has gone up by 3% this month because we're in April. Water is £55. My private pension is £50. Life insurance is £85. Phone contracts is £17. Our rent is £1,350. And then down here, as you can see, we have a yearly insurance, which is coming out of our sinking fund, which is part of this here. Okay, so see if I can just bear with me a moment. I'm just going to move this over. So then we've got a budget for fuel of £280, £350 of food, but this is in a 28-day period. Household £30, personal care £35. Now normally this is 20, but I've added in £15 extra, which is part of this here, because the £15 is a sinking fund that I use for a moisturiser, which I don't have to buy every month, but it is a little bit more expensive. Pet food £20, childcare £245. Then I've got general miscellaneous, so that'll be, there's always something that we'll find that we needed. Car running costs of £10 for the month, so that will be things like screen wash, if we need little bits and pieces for the car. Travel, which will be for parking, and then £200 to visit. It says kids visit. Now my husband has children who are now adults from a previous relationship, and they have children, so my husband is actually a granddad, and once every few months we visit them. And again, this is a sinking fund, and so not every month it will be on our budget. It will just come in under our cash binder. So down here, we're not putting anything into cash binders because obviously it's going to be a quite tight month this month. I never budget for savings challenges or penny challenges because that comes out of any underspends in these categories. So last category. So I have car finance, which is £255. We have an energy debt of £50, which is on top of the 160 up here, and a credit card of £228. So as we're working on a zero-based budget, it's £380 £3,839 coming in, £2,116 of variable fixed bills, £1,190 in variable bills, nothing into savings, £533 to pay off debt, which will leave us with a zero balance. Okay, so this is how it will look for the first week. No, that's the second week. £184. My budget for this week, starts on Friday the 28th, but I don't actually get paid until the 31st, the main first from job one. So although we calculate in the food from here, this is usually for just the food budgets. So that'll be my grocery, my household, my pet food, my personal care. Okay, and then if there's a little bit left over, then we will throw it at other things. Right, so we've got 160 potentially 160 coming out for energy, £50 for my pension. So then over to this way, we've got a budget of £60 for fuel, £30 in cash, which is mine, £30 in the bank for my husband. Grocery is £150. This is for the week, and that's in the bank because we do a .com shopping. Household is £30, which stays in the bank. Personal care is £35, that stays in the bank because my moisturiser cream comes from Amazon. Pet food is £20, and again that stays in the bank account. Childcare costs, which is £245 for the month, that will stay in the bank so that I can pay the childminder directly. I'm not going to put anything for the miscellaneous or car running costs because usually that's towards the end of the month when I realise that we need a bit, and my general miscellaneous is kind of used as a buffer towards the end of the month. So the travel is £10, £5 in cash to me, £5 in my husband's car bank account. He has a lot of hospital appointments at the moment, so that's why we do a bit of both, because sometimes when I'm driving then I'll pay with cash, and then if he's on his own he'll pay for it by card. Then obviously because this is the last weekend of the month, we try and visit that weekend, so that's where the £200 for the visit, so that'll be in the bank account. Okay, so we're not budgeting anything for these three. As I said, because we're already drawing from savings up here for the month, we're going to try and keep these to a minimal. If we get to the end of the month and finances work out better, which for the grace of God it always does, I don't know how we manage it, then we will put some money into these categories, but until then, so then car finance is due, and then obviously the energy debt as well, so that comes to 305. So for the budget, income is £1,984 with fixed of 210. The variable is 750, with a debt payment of 305, which leaves us 719 to roll over. So hopefully we'll see next at the end of the week how we did. Right, thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you all again soon.